You might think you know everything about Indiana Jones. After all, he's swung across countless chasms, wrestled artifacts from Nazis, and survived more wild scrapes than most fictional heroes ever do. But what if I told you the most jaw-dropping moment in the entire franchise might not be on the big screen, but in a video game? Today, we're diving deep into the brand new Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. It's a globe-trotting adventure that's already stirring more controversy and excitement than almost any indie project in recent memory. Strap in, because this journey is packed with twists, surprises, and behind-the-scenes drama that could change how we see indie forever. And if you're on the fence about diving in, the early reviews are making it an absolute no-brainer. With IGN scoring it a stellar 9, a Metascore of 86, and a solid user score of 8.3, it's being hailed as an S-tier must-play. Whether you're planning on a lean 16-hour run through the main story or gearing up for an epic 38-hour journey to achieve 100% completion, this game promises to deliver an immersive adventure that's as deep as it is exhilarating. Now let's dive in. Not long ago, fans believed we'd seen the last of Dr. Henry Walton, Indiana Jones Jr. After multiple films, some legendary, others divisive, many wondered if the old adventurer still had room to grow. Most of Indy's forays into gaming have been third-person action titles or point-and-click adventures, with varying degrees of success. But when rumors started swirling that a new title was in development, folks were intrigued. Then came the bombshell announcement. MachineGames, best known for the modern Wolfenstein series, was at the helm. Reactions were immediate and passionate. Some fans applauded the idea. Who better to fight Nazis than the team behind Wolfenstein? Others, though, raised eyebrows. Does every modern AAA game need guns blazing? For anyone used to the standard formula, whip, punch, run, switching to a slower, more methodical style might feel like a jolt. The real question is, why did they choose this direction? And will it truly capture the spirit of the daring archaeologist we've loved for decades? Before the public could piece it all together, an insider leak suggested something big about the game's premise. People whispered about new gameplay mechanics, a sprawling environment, and a story that could potentially become the official Lost chapter, nestled between the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade. If that's true, we could be looking at a major piece of canonical indie history, one that fans have been craving since the 1980s. You'd think any Indiana Jones project would get a smooth green light, especially after the brand got revitalized for recent films, but you'd be wrong. Word on the street is that licensing for The Great Circle was a nightmare. Disney, now holding the indie reins, reportedly demanded creative oversight to avoid another potential fiasco, like some fans claimed happened with the latter movies. Meanwhile, insiders hinted at tension between Disney's top brass and the game's direction. The devs wanted to push boundaries, possibly delving into themes that are darker and more historically raw than typical Indiana Jones fare. Some even claim that the game's entire production was nearly shelved halfway through when certain budget demands weren't met. Allegedly, the project's budget ballooned as the developers insisted on hyper-detailed environments, from meticulously recreated catacombs beneath Vatican City to ancient tombs near the Egyptian pyramids. High-level execs reportedly asked, "Does the average gamer really need that much detail?" But the developers stood their ground, believing that for an Indiana Jones game to work, the environment had to be as immersive and convincingly alive as any classic film set. And that's not all. Rumors swirled of internal clashes between story writers and marketing teams. The marketing team, so the whispers go, wanted to highlight over-the-top Nazi-busting action to reel in the Wolfenstein crowd, while the writers insisted on slow-build tension, focusing on Indy's love of puzzle-solving and historical wonder. The compromise? A stealth-based approach that still packs a punch when it counts, but not everyone was thrilled. It's the kind of behind-the-curtain tug-of-war that has fans wondering if the final product might feel torn between two worlds. When official footage started leaking, one thing stood out. This game is not the typical third-person spectacle fans might expect. Instead, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is told from the first-person viewpoint, making every artifact gleam and every tomb's dusty corridor feel up close and personal. Imagine looking up at the Great Sphinx in person instead of seeing Indy do it on your screen. That sense of scale, of immediate immersion, is so strong that many early testers claimed it's the most real Indy experience they've ever had. But with innovation comes risk. A major talking point is the game's stealth focus and stamina system. Yes, stamina. Indy can't sprint for miles while simultaneously fistfighting half a dozen Nazis. After decades of films showcasing Indy leaping from speeding vehicles and outrunning boulders, some fans are puzzled to see him occasionally pausing to catch his breath in a hidden alcove. Others, however, say this is exactly the realistic nuance the franchise has been missing. It forces strategic planning, turning each encounter into a puzzle. Do you climb that ledge carefully, or risk sprinting and draining your stamina bar? Then there's the combat. Sure, you have your iconic whip, the beloved fedora, and Indy's trademark revolver. But don't expect unlimited bullets or unstoppable power. In fact, many players discovered that firearms are so limited, they're practically novelty items. When you do pull the trigger, you might be shocked that it doesn't always produce the one-shot takedowns we remember from the films. Some claim this is an oversight that betrays cinematic lore. Others applaud it for making you earn your victories. No matter where you stand, it's a point of heated discussion. For those who've explored every nook and cranny, the Great Circle is loaded with secret references to the older Indy canon, both from the films and the classic games. You might catch a glimpse of an artifact once discussed in a 1980s point-and-click adventure, or spot a letter pinned to a board that references a certain old flame from the cinematic universe. Fans are already banding together online to decode certain puzzle elements while rumored to have real-world archaeological parallels. This is where controversy rears its head. Allegedly, some of these puzzles were almost cut for being too difficult in early playtests. The development team fought to keep them, convinced that Indy fans thrive on unraveling cryptic messages and deciphering historical riddles. But concerns remain. Will the modern, casual gamer stick around when a puzzle demands you read actual Latin inscriptions, or flick through an in-game journal for a subtle clue? One rumor suggests that Disney executives themselves stepped in, wanting to ensure the game didn't become too niche. In the end, the puzzles remain, though softened by an optional hint system that only activates if you snap a photo of the puzzle with your in-game camera. It's a clever way to keep solutions hidden, unless you're really stuck. Meanwhile, the storyline itself hints at a cat-and-mouse chase across multiple continents, with the elusive Great Circle at the heart of it all. Fans speculate that this circle could be a reference to ancient geometry linking grand monuments worldwide, perhaps the secret that the Nazis want to harness for unimaginable power. Talk about high stakes. Some fear it might get too sci-fi, reminiscent of the more polarizing alien arcs in past indie media. Others are absolutely thrilled at the possibility of exploring uncharted territory, especially if it means bridging the gap between real history and the brand's trademark supernatural touches. Indiana Jones has always had a knack for tussling with Nazi antagonists, but early word suggests that the Great Circle might take that conflict to extremes. We're not just dealing with run-of-the-mill stormtroopers. The main villain is rumored to be Emmerich Voss, an archaeologist twisted by obsessions with rewriting history. He's cunning, manipulative, and possibly the darkest threat Indy's faced since Belloc sold his soul to the highest bidder. The game doesn't shy away from the uglier aspects of Wubby-Yubby-Woo-era politics and ideology either. Indeed, some corners of the internet claim the developers wanted to reference real historical figures aligned with Nazism, a step that got nixed due to concerns over potential public backlash. Instead, they created original characters that still feel horrifyingly authentic. Critics say it's a fine line to walk. Too realistic, and you risk overshadowing the pulpy fun. Too cartoonish, and you risk downplaying the genuine threat the Nazis posed historically. Judging from early impressions, the Great Circle manages to capture that chilling balance, injecting enough real-world weight to make it unsettling, without losing the larger-than-life flair that defines Indiana Jones. This approach has left fans debating whether the game crosses the line into too dark territory. Does a more serious tone betray the series' original fun spirit, or does it honor the high-stakes danger Indiana Jones confronted in the original trilogy? Regardless, with so many theories swirling about final reveals, fans can't wait to see how far the story actually goes. Some claim the final act is so out there, it might change the entire concept of what an Indiana Jones adventure can be. Despite the hush-hush approach to marketing, leaked gameplay and early previews triggered a wave of debates on social media. Many longtime devotees praised the gorgeous visuals, claiming the level of detail, like flickering candlelight in tomb corridors or ancient hieroglyphs meticulously carved into stone, makes this the most immersive Indy experience ever. Others argue the pace is too slow. Where's the energetic, swashbuckling hero who single-handedly takes on entire armies? And then there are the swirling rumors of possible microtransactions and Day One DLC. While official sources haven't confirmed any paywalls, internet forums lit up with talk about cosmetic expansions or the potential to purchase clue packs, an idea that outraged some. Buying solutions to puzzles in an Indiana Jones game? Outraged fans typed furiously. That's the antithesis of everything Indy stands for. However, as of now, these concerns remain speculation. MachineGames has neither confirmed nor explicitly denied them, leaving fans in a state of suspended anxiety. Meanwhile, the actual reviews that have trickled out, whether from testers or early access players, are largely positive, with a big asterisk. This game is not Uncharted or Tomb Raider. It's methodical. It's about creeping around corners, biding your time, and feeling like a genuine flesh-and-blood adventurer. If you go in expecting a high-octane thrill ride at every second, you might be disappointed. But if you want to see the world through Indy's eyes, examining relics up close, hearing your own breath echo in a silent crypt, and dealing with unpredictable foes, it might just blow your mind. Could Indiana Jones and the Great Circle be the defining Indy experience that stands proudly alongside the classic films? The stakes are high for MachineGames. If they succeed, they'll have shown the world that Indy can still dazzle us, even decades after his cinematic debut, and especially in a medium that's grown more sophisticated since the days of blocky pixel art and glitchy platformers. If they stumble, critics will say the franchise belongs in the past, locked away like a relic in a museum. But the developers seem confident. Some insiders say they have big plans for expansions, maybe even a sequel that builds on the Great Circle's revelations. Fans are already hypothesizing about cameo appearances from iconic characters, Marion Ravenwood or Short Round, for example. Could we get a spin-off exploring new mysteries with them in the lead? With Disney's resources, the sky's the limit. That is, if the game's reception hits the right notes. Interestingly, a few devoted communities are analyzing every cryptic file found in the game code, searching for any reference to future titles. Some data-mined notes mention rumored set pieces in Asia and Central America. Others point to possible ties with other Lucasfilm franchises. Is that too much synergy? Or could it usher in a new era where fans get interconnected story arcs across multiple games? For now, it's anyone's guess, but the speculation alone proves how potent and alive the Indy brand can still be. And so what lies beyond the next temple door? After dissecting every clue, rumor, controversy, and snippet of gameplay about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, one thing is clear. This is a bold leap forward for a franchise that's been around longer than many of its fans have been alive. Love it or hate it, you can't deny the ambition. From the immersive first-person view to the richly detailed environments and the swirl of real historical darkness. Some fans believe it's the fresh spark Indy needed to reclaim his place in gaming history. Others worry it's too far a departure from the cinematic action they grew up with, but maybe that tension is part of what makes this game so gripping. Indiana Jones has always danced between the serious and the absurd, the historical and the mythical. The Great Circle seems to embody that delicate balance, pushing boundaries we never thought we'd see in an Indy title. Whether it cements Indy's legendary status or spawns more debates than Dial of Destiny level controversies, one thing's certain. After you explore these tombs, wrangle with this new Nazi threat, and maybe unravel the deepest secrets behind that mysterious circle, you'll never see this franchise the same way again. So if you're up for an adventure that might just change your entire perspective on Dr. Jones, keep your eyes peeled for Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. Will it become the ultimate treasure Indy fans have been seeking, or is it a cursed idol that should have stayed buried? Only time and your own daring curiosity will tell. Let's keep the conversation going. What do you think about a grittier, first-person take on everyone's favorite archaeologist? Sound off with your thoughts, theories, and predictions. After all, the best part of any Indiana Jones story is that the hunt for the truth never really ends.